Today we're talking about 50, yes, 50 new PS5 games of 2025. Look, GameRanks gave me a big ass list of games to talk about, so we gotta get moving. Just know that the release dates will appear on screen if you're looking for them, but they are of course subject to change, because games get delayed all the time. Still, these are games releasing for PS5 in 2025, or games we hope release in 2025, so let's get started off with number 50. Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 was recently revealed and it looks like it's significantly changing things up. The vibe is different, the gameplay looks like it has a little bit more verticality, but we only know so much here. The developers did announce a full dedicated PlayStation Direct soon in the coming months, just specifically highlighting Borderlands 4, so we're hoping we get a lot more information then. Next, over at number 49, we have Crimson Desert. This is from the people behind Black Desert Online, but this is something completely different. This is a massive open world, ambitious adventure in a medieval fantasy world with magic, knights, swords, horses, all kinds of crazy stuff. It looks like a world you can truly create a character and really live in. This game has a lot of systems and features, and we're really just hoping that it can actually live up to the lofty promises. Next, over at number 48, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Yes, a game that was once just Xbox Series X and S and PC is releasing on PS5 this year. And that's good because this game is damn good. I really had a good time with this one. It is Indiana Jones through and through. It gets the feel of those original 3 movies, and it's just got good gameplay chops to boot. It's got a little exploration, it's got a lot of punching. It feels like a hybrid between like a Dishonored immersive sim, but also Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, if you're one of the guys like me who played that. Next, over at number 47, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh boy, this is a big one for Ubisoft. They're betting big on this, and we're hoping that they can nail this one. From what I've seen so far, I'm not convinced of some of the gameplay changes or in the story. I hope it can live up to both Assassin's Creed as a franchise and also the fact that people have been wanting an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan for years. Like I said, previews have been a little mixed, but we're gonna have to wait and see how the final product is when it releases soon. Next, over at number 46, we have Mafia: The Old Country. Mafia is throwing it back to early 1900s Sicily for some good crime shenanigans, and I am 100% on board. These games have always taken inspiration from the Godfather films, and I expect that to continue here, but I think this type of game, dropped into a lower fi early 1900s with technology and how it was and stuff, I just think is a really, really good idea, and I hope it's reflected in the gameplay. Next, over at number 45, we have Ninja Gaiden 4. Ninja Gaiden is back. This is really cool. There's a new character, and it looks like him and Ryu Hayabusa kind of clash, but ultimately probably will become friends or something like that. But this is just bringing back fast, chaotic, action-slashy combat, just a big old adventure, and I couldn't be happier. I love the original Ninja Gaiden games. I like this style of combat, so we're hoping that they nail it. Next, over at number 44, we have The Outer Worlds 2. This is a follow-up to Obsidian's Outer Worlds, a game that I thought was very good. It had some flaws, it had some shortcomings, and it wasn't the longest game in the world, so I'm really hoping that with this second game, they can take all those good ideas, package them up, and make an even better, stronger adventure this time around. It already looks like combat is really amped up, and we're excited to see what Obsidian is cooking here with this one. Next, over at number 43, we have Atomfall. This is an interesting one. This is kind of like an end of the world, kind of a northern English countryside. You know what? Okay, it's kind of reminding me of like Atomic Heart, but not in Russia, in northern England. And I think that's a cool idea. It's given BioShock vibes to it. It's a first-person survival adventure. It's a story-based thing, and that's something I'm personally into. So I will absolutely be checking out Atomfall. We'll probably do a before you buy on it. To be honest, we'll do a before you buy on a lot of these games. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Next, over at number 42, we have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This one's been a long time coming. It's been in development forever. It's switched development studios. I don't know what to make of it. From what they've shown with this gameplay, it looks a little different than what I was expecting, but I'm still hoping that they nail it because I think the world needs more vampire games. I always say that, but also, the original Bloodlines was great. So to continue that legacy would be a win for all of us. Now over at number 41, we have Lost Soul Aside, another like really crazy action slashy combat game. This was initially developed by one person. We have mentioned it years and years ago, probably one of the first places to really mention it. But since then, it's ballooned, it's become a bigger project, it's been supported by Sony, and this just looks like a crazy, awesome adventure. I can't wait to see more of this one soon. Next, over at number 40, we have the first Berserker, Khazan. This is a Souls-like game, straight up. But the art style and everything they have going on here and the really incredible looking main character, it just looks cool. It just looks a little different. It's gory, it's over the top, it's chaotic. It's based on a franchise, but you can jump into this kind of not knowing anything. And for Souls-like people, I think this one definitely has a lot of potential. Next, over at number 39, we have Forza Horizon 5. Yes, an Xbox game coming to PlayStation. This is a big one. Forza is Xbox's baby. Forza Horizon 5 is an absolutely awesome racing game. And now it's coming to PlayStation 5, so that's good news for you guys. Next, over at number 38, we have Dying Light: The Beast. This is kind of like a new kind of spin-off Dying Light game. It's focused on Kyle Crane, the guy from the first game, but now he's got like superpowers. Cool, whatever, I'm in. I like Dying Light a lot. I like Dying Light 2. I didn't like it as much as the first game, but where they're going with this one and how they're trying some different things, I think it could be pretty cool. Next, over at number 37, we have Exoborne. This is a tactical extraction shooter where you're in this like crazy world being torn apart by weather and nature, and it just looks really, really chaotic. You have powers, you get loot, and the world looks pretty interesting. They're talking about some really interesting concepts with just how the world and how nature actually works and how it affects gameplay. I need to see more to see really what's going on with this. To me, it's screaming live service, which often makes my eyes glaze over, but we're certainly keeping an eye on this one. Next, over at number 36, we have Hell Is Us. This looks absolutely awesome. This is from developer Rogue Factor, and it's kind of like a Souls-like, yes, but it seems like it has a heavy story focus, and it's sci-fi. It's like a sci-fi adventure, maybe with a little bit of horror vibes mixed with Death Stranding, and it just looks like a really good combination. A lot of the people working on this, a lot of people who came together to make this game have worked on a lot of big games in the past, so it might be a formula for success. I'd say at the very least, just keep an eye on this one. Next, over at number 35, we have Towers of Aghasba. This is an open world sandbox adventure with a lot of quirks, a lot of weird creatures and biomes, and as of right now, it's still technically in early access. It released in 2024, but the games have gotten a lot of feedback, and we're curious to see what the developers do with it this year. Next, over at number 34, we have Where Winds Meet. This is an open world action adventure RPG set during a significant period in Chinese history, but of course they're going full fantasy here, and the influence of Chinese game development seems to continue here. This does look like a really strong contender. The action is over the top. Next, number 33, we have Marvel's Wolverine. I know it's pretty high up on the list just because we don't know if it's coming in 2025. We haven't heard a thing about this since it was announced a few years back, but we're hoping that we hear more this year and maybe it gets a release date this year. That would be cool. I could use some Logan in my life, but we'll just have to wait and see. And speaking of waiting and seeing, Hollow Knight Silksong. Yes, the game, the follow-up to the incredible Hollow Knight, has been years and years and years in the making, and people are still waiting. 2025 has to be the year this thing finally has a release date, right? If not, I feel like I'm going crazy. Next, over at number 31, we have MindsEye. This looks like a big action-adventure, cinematic, crazy game, and it's from Leslie Benzies, one of the guys behind the original Grand Theft Auto games who eventually left to work on his own games, like this and another one, Everywhere. Everywhere is a bit of a different project. It seems like it's more of like a community-driven thing, but this game, MindsEye, just looks like a good old-fashioned video game. Car chases, action shootouts, sci-fi, third-person running and gunning. I don't know. I like all those things, and I hope this shapes up to be good. Next, over at number 30, we have Phantom Blade Zero. This is an action combat adventure game in a fantasy world that I can confirm now actually is as cool as it looks. I was able to play a work-in-progress preview version of this game for a little while, and the combat is crazy. The action is over the top. The boss fights are really compelling. The developers have been putting out more and more gameplay of this, so you can check it out for yourself, but I definitely think this one is going to be a big contender. Next, over at number 29, we have Ferocious, which straight up is billed as just like an old school first-person shooter. You're running around in the jungle shooting dinosaurs. No, it's not Turok, even though that's making a comeback too, but Ferocious just seems like straight up regular old-fashioned good video game fun times. It's got guns, gore, pretty graphics. It kind of reminds me of Crysis from back in the day, like Crysis with the dinosaurs. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Next, over at number 28, we have Neo Berlin 2087. The details on this game are still slight, but the initial trailers made a splash because the game looks absolutely gorgeous. It's flashy, it's colorful, it's cyberpunk, it's inspired. It's being made by an ambitious, smaller team, and that's all we know for now, but this is another one we're keeping our eye on it. Mostly because it looks just really cool visually, but we're really excited to see what the gameplay details really are. Next, over at number 27, we have Little Nightmares 3. The weird, creepy horror adventures continue. I'm very much looking forward to this one. It includes multiplayer. You can play through it with a friend. And these games I come to for a couple of things, like really like nail-biting moments and creepy monsters and cool visuals. And it looks like Little Nightmares 3 is delivering all of that. Next, over at number 26, what an awesome surprise. We're getting a new classic-style Shinobi game. Shinobi Art of Vengeance looks like a absolute love letter to the classic games, but also trying some cool, new, interesting things. It's got a great art style, and just judging from the trailer, the gameplay does look pretty tight. Of course, that's a matter of feel, and we're excited to get our hands on this thing. Next, over at number 25, we have Light No Fire. This is the next game from Hello Games, the people behind No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, of course, launched with some issues, but has gone on to become an incredible game. Probably one of the best space games ever. They've supported the hell out of it. It has become such a good game. And now with Light No Fire, it looks like they're trying something different. Kind of like big, wide open sandbox world adventuring. The potential is there. I think they've learned a lot from No Man's Sky, so we're excited to see what they're truly cooking with this one. Next, over at number 24, we have Split Fiction. This is the newest game from Hazelight, the people behind It Takes Two, A Way Out. This is an interesting spin. Essentially, you are two writers who are sucked into their projects. It's two women that write books. One is a fantasy author and one is a sci-fi author. So you're essentially just constantly adventuring and getting thrown into these crazy, different, contrasting worlds. And if it's anything like It Takes Two, if it can really keep that gameplay, pacing, and consistency and creativity, this could be an incredible game. It Takes Two won a lot of Game of the Year awards when that released, and hopefully Split Fiction can be as fun as that. Next, over at number 23, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a French-developed RPG, heavily inspired by JRPGs, but definitely doing its own thing. It's got a little bit of a AAA flair to it, but with really, really inventive worlds and characters and art direction. This looks just unique. It's got a lot of great voice actors behind the game, and hopefully tells a really compelling tale to back up the gameplay, which is kind of like old school or RPG turn-based stuff. I've said it in other videos in the past, Expedition 33 is pretty high on my most anticipated list, to be honest, so all I can say is that I am excited for this one. Next, over at number 22, we have Fatal Fury City of Wolves. Fatal Fury fans have been waiting for something, and it looks like City of the Wolves is definitely going to deliver because the gameplay looks insane. SNK Corporation definitely knows what they're doing at this point, so yeah. Thankfully, you don't have to wait too long for this one. Next, over at number 21, we have Bleach, Rebirth of Souls. For Bleach fans, this is essentially centered around a lot of like intense 1v1 battles. The art style, the visuals they have going on here looks pretty consistent. It's being published by Bandai Namco, who I think at this point knows how to handle these types of properties, so we're hoping for the best. Next, over at number 20, we have Baby Steps. Sorry, I'm laughing, but like, look at the gameplay. I don't know what they're doing here, but this looks absolutely awesome. Like a Bennett Foddy or other games that went viral just for their strangeness and their weird control concepts, Baby Steps looks like it's going to be one of those. Something creative, something different, a breath of strange, fresh air. And honestly, I'm hoping we hear more from it soon. Next, over at number 19, we have Ballad of Antara. This is an action world RPG set in large worlds that looks really compelling. Visually, there's a lot of cool detail going on, but like I like the focus on the two main central characters, and apparently there's like this weird mist plague that is destroying the lands, and it's up to you to figure out what's going on. That's some video game stuff if I've ever heard it, but it being an action RPG, I'm in. Next over at number 18, we have WUCHANG Fallen Feathers. This is a Souls-like, straight up. The developers set it themselves, they're inspired by the Souls games, and here it seems a lot more action-packed, fast-paced type of thing, and it's set during the late Ming Dynasty, so it's got some Chinese history and fantasy elements to it. You play as this badass-looking lady, apparently she's a pirate that has come to these lands, and we're looking forward to learning more, but as of right now, it is at the very least slated for sometime in 2025. Next over at number 17, we have Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders has gone through a significant overhaul since you probably last heard of it. This is a multiplayer extraction shooter set in a really interesting world, kind of ravaged by these machines. The art style, the character designs, and the weapons still continue to be top-notch. That's really, for me, the most interesting thing about this. It is a third-person shooter, which is also cool. I feel like we don't have enough of those, so I'm hoping for the best for Arc Raiders. There are playtest signups on Steam. We haven't heard a lot of info about it other than when it was re-revealed late last year, but yeah. Next over at number 16, we have the Occultist. Not too much to go on with this one yet, but essentially you are this guy, Alan, who is an occultist, and he's going on an investigation, and things quickly get creepy. This is billed as a psychological horror single-player game, and that's sometimes what the doctor ordered. There was a really big, flashy, like, cinematic trailer reveal, but, like, just looking at some of the screenshots we have now officially, it does look cool, immersive, detailed environments, probably heavily built around investigating more than, like, shooting ghosts or anything like that. I'm just excited to see what is the deal with this one. It's from Daedalic Entertainment, the publishers. They've had an interesting track record, some hits, some misses, but when they try weird, interesting stuff, it's usually worth checking into. Next over at number 15, we have Dynasty Warriors Origins. This just recently released, and it's great. They nailed it. Finally, a good Dynasty Warriors game. We fell short with the last one when it forced the open world structure, but Origins feels like a good return to form, a good step forward, just quality Dynasty Warriors hacking and slashing. Next over at number 14, we have Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic remake. We're mentioning this one just to make sure people don't forget about it. I don't know if this is actually going to release in 2025. It's been in the works for so long. I believe different studios at a point, lots of rumors, lots of leaks, but nothing really concrete to go on. But at the very least, it is one of the best games ever. Really one of the best Star Wars games for sure, but one of the best RPGs. So if they could remake it, it could be an absolute hit. But we're still just waiting and hoping. Next over at number 13, check this out. This is ExeKiller or ExeKiller. This is like a retro futuristic first-person shooter. So you're kind of like this Blade Runner cowboy western guy. That's a good combo if you ask me. You got a vehicle, you got cool sci-fi revolvers, a trench coat, a dusty desert sci-fi wasteland. I'm in, man. As soon as I first saw this thing, my eyes like were laid upon a couple of screenshots. I was in. Splitgate 2. Splitgate is back. I mean, the original was like huge. People absolutely loved it, were blown away by it, but it was over rather quickly. So now Splitgate 2 is turning things around with lots of new gameplay concepts, larger than life levels, a brighter color palette. I hope that this works out because these games deserve a future. In terms of just competitive, fun, multiplayer first-person shooters, Splitgate has always had a lot of promise to really hit the big leagues, and I hope Splitgate 2 really does it for them. Next, over at number 11, we have a new Virtua Fighter project. Virtua Fighter is back, baby. It looks really cool. The little snippets that they've shown online, the little things that they've teased seem awesome. It's been a while since we've had a full, solid Virtua Fighter. The most recent one is now on PC. People have been loving that, so we're excited. Next, over at number 10, we have an Okami sequel. I don't really need to know much more, other than that the gang is back together, Hideki Kamiya is there, and Capcom has greenlit a new Okami game. That's awesome. The original Okami was just a great adventure of that time, incredibly unique, great color palette, great music, incredibly memorable. So we're really hoping they can capitalize on what made the original great and take it even further now with modern technology. Next, we have Directive 8020. This is the next game from the people behind Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology. This just looks like an awesome sci-fi horror adventure. The trailer looked really cool. It looked like one of these types of cinematic playable adventure games, but with really interesting sci-fi horror concepts. I can't get enough of sci-fi horror, things like Event Horizon, Dead Space, things like that. So to see this team try their hand at that, I'm in. Next, over at number 8, we have Doom: The Dark Ages. This is a shakeup for the newer Doom games, where 2016 was running and gunning. Doom Eternal added a bunch of mechanical complexity to the combat. Doom: The Dark Ages, according to the developers, is all about just like the brute force. You got a Captain America shield with razors on it you can throw around. Really cool over-the-top weapons that shoot skulls and shards, and you're essentially roaming around bigger environments. You can explore a little bit. You can ride on dragons and shit. Honestly, it just looks like a crazy like heavy metal album cover come to life. I really hope they can nail that premise, because Doom: The Dark Ages could be one for the ages. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. Next, at number 7, is Elden Ring Night Reign. If you and a couple of buddies are looking to get into that Elden Ring From Software experience, it seems like Elden Ring Night Reign is really cool. From some of the tests, you know, the technical tests and stuff so far, people have come away really intrigued how the game treats the world, how it handles loot and progression, and also crazy bosses. Just seems like a ton of fun. If you were into Elden Ring and you're still looking for more of an Elden Ring fix, this looks like a little bit of a different flavor, but definitely something worth considering buying. Next, over at number 6, we have Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2 might be 2025. We expect to see a lot more of it this year, and we're excited to see how this adventure continues, because boy, the original Death Stranding was quite a weird, strange ride. As much as I enjoyed that game, it had some shortcomings. The story got lost in the weeds, and it also really told a lot of story towards the back end pretty heavily, so hopefully they can balance that out this time around. But that gameplay from the first is unique and compelling, and we're hoping they evolve on it in really cool ways here. At this point, Hideo Kojima and company definitely know what they're doing, so yeah, now all we have to do is wait for another weird, cool, over-the-top, over-edited, really long trailer. I'm in it. I love those. Next, over at number 5, is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Probably one of the better RPGs to release this year. We have absolutely loved this game here at GameRanks. It just released at the time of making this video. It is a big, monstrous RPG with choices, decisions, consequences, branching quests, detailed explorable worlds, and just a good showcase of like weird, brutal medieval life. If you're into knights, swords, castles, history, and challenging RPGs, consider Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's definitely one of the best. Next, down at number 4, we have Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds takes the formula of Monster Hunter Worlds and Rise and takes it to a new level with completely open world maps, you know, no loading, no zones, anything like that, riding around on mounts, switching weapons, and a bunch of creative new monster designs. So far, our first impressions, the game is very cool. It's more Monster Hunter, and honestly, that's all you'll want sometimes. It's good to go in with friends, grind down some hunts, and we think this is one that people are going to be playing for quite some time. Next, over at number 3, we have Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, or the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake, whatever you want to call it. So far, this is looking pretty good. All the gameplay, all the trailers they've shown, the fact that they're sticking pretty close to that original gameplay formula and only slightly updating it and tweaking it, I think is good. I am a diehard Metal Gear Solid fan, as you guys probably know, and I'm incredibly picky of remakes like this when it's so close to me personally, but so far, it seems like they're doing the right things, they're saying the right things, they're showing off the right things, and we're gonna get it in our hands and judge it soon when it releases. Now down at number 2, Ghosts of Yotei. The follow-up to Ghosts of Tsushima here is releasing this year at some point, and we're really excited to see how things go, how Sucker Punch can really continue the Ghost of Tsushima gameplay concepts. I really could have spent a little more time with Jin Sakai. You know, it's interesting that they're changing the character already, but if it carries similar gameplay concepts, exploration, stealth, the beautiful worlds, I am absolutely locked in. In terms of like PS5 big like story-based AAA exclusives, this is probably going to be their biggest one of the year. Now down at number 1, the elephant in the room, Grand Theft Auto 6. GTA 6 does not have a release date, but the parent company Take-Two has been, doubling down that it is going to be a 2025 release. Will it get delayed? Who knows? Honestly, we haven't heard shit about this game in quite some time since that original trailer was revealed. But whenever this does release, maybe if it is fall of 2025, maybe it isn't, it's going to be a big thing. It's going to be a big mover and shaker. Even if you personally aren't a big Grand Theft Auto player, there's no denying that this game is a big deal. The amount of money involved, the amount of people involved, casual audiences, everybody is going to be talking about this one, and we're just excited to see how it all goes down in the gaming culture, in the world. Maybe 2025 is when we finally get some of those answers. Those are 50 games, but of course there's more. We couldn't fit just 50. We also have some bonus ones, including Killing Floor 3, Days Gone Remastered, Rematch, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. There's probably a lot more out there. Like I said, we can only squeeze so many here. So let us know what games you're looking forward to. Anything else you think should be put on this list. Anything at all, let's talk. If you like this video and you like talking games with us every single day, clicking the like button's all you gotta do. It really helps us out. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.